All right, everybody, welcome back to Movie Talks and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I'm Gavin Butts.
I'm Patrick Wall.
And in this episode, with all the election stuff that has begun, now we had the debate. What was it?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Not saying it was the greatest thing in the world to watch, but it was definitely entertaining.
It was definitely a thing that was aired on
Yes.
television.
Yes, we had an ignoramus and an asshole on TV. I'll let you decide which one was which.
Odds are they're both nominees.
Yes.
Raise your hands. So, because we got the election year here, it's coming up in November, only a few months away, really. So, we decided we would talk about anything movie related to government. So, it could be a movie with an election, could be about a president, it could just be about any political thing whatsoever. So,
Again, we are not affiliated with any political party.
that's right.
That
These
you
are
know.
our thoughts, not yours. Wait, hold up.
We will keep our political opinions to ourselves.
Yes,
we will
yes.
just be commentating on the movies and what
Yes.
we feel about the movies,
just
not
tell-
the actual politics in the movies.
Just tell Patrick to keep his opinion off of me.
Just for the record, I was at work yesterday. I couldn't have been at wherever that was that
Sure.
happened.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
There were
Work.
security cameras.
Work. I've seen how much you play online.
Look at my time card.
Yeah. I specifically handwritten this in, and I initialed it.
It don't matter that it was 3 weeks ago that I planned this.
There's whiteout on the date.
For the Secret Service that is listening to this, I
Yeah.
promise I had nothing to do with whatever that happened.
And nor are we making a lighter joke of
No.
it either. So, but anyway, so kicking off into political type movies, government movies, election movies, presidents, whatever you want to be, what is some that come to your minds?
Well, I would, I typically try to choose the funny one, but I like Hail to the Chief, which is really, really funny. It's about two former presidents on either side. Both, I think one's a Democrat, and one's a Republican. They both ran against each other. I think the Democrat. Oh man, I can't remember the names of the actors.
Come on.
I know. I should have just had that up.
We need a sound effects board.
Yes, we do.
And I'm going to randomly
I
program
swear
one
that was-
button to be the ending speech from
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Why is it giving me the 1973 one?
Because it's the better one, obviously.
Apparently not.
I don't know. I haven't seen either of them.
Here we
Which
go.
no one is surprised about.
2013.
2013.
Come on, IMDb.
11 years ago.
So, we've said this behind the curtain
Anyway.
thing a little bit. Like, we always have lists on our phones just as a general reminder of all the movies. And I'm scrolling through mine, and there is some that MIB, like Men in Black, does not belong on this list.
No.
No.
No, they were a secret government
Yeah,
organization.
the government didn't even
but
know
yeah.
they existed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Kingsman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It operated separate from the government. It was
Yeah.
a secret organization, even from itself.
I do like how they made the British, like, the posh, like, we're tailors. We make fancy suits. And the American version is like, we make whiskey.
Yeah.
They're also, like, the biggest, like, did you see that New York office that Pedro Pascal was in? It's like the richest whiskey company in the world.
Now that's a
Like-
distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lagavulin doesn't even have that kind of money.
Nope. Statesman was their name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Statesman. Gotta love the Statesman. Well, I'm gonna go with, there's a million we'll talk about. JFK. I really liked it. Oliver Stone, obviously an amazing director. Kevin Costner, very good actor. Talks about, it's actually the story about the investigation of the
Yeah.
assassination of John F. Kennedy.
I remember watching that movie. It was really good.
It is very good. It's got the cost in it.
Yeah. Well, also another one of his that's kind of like a post-apocalyptic is The Postman. So essentially, with the fall of America, there's this group that's been going around and kind of trying to unify, basically under fear, as the one standing government that's operating around the rest of. Where is their I can't remember what their area that they were in.
I think it was
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest.
Okay, because he says that the that the new Congress is in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
The new Congress.
Where the Viking that inside the Hubert Humphrey Metrodome, where the Vikings used to play.
Oh,
Oh yeah, it does it just to keep warm at night.
so that's mine. What about you, Patrick?
There are two that I'm debating about that I've been debating about since we turned on the microphone. So let me give you the two, and
Okay.
then you guys can judge which one is better.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna judge.
Oh, I know. You judged me this morning when I sent you an Instagram post.
Yes, I did.
First is Dave.
Yes. like it.
Kevin Kline, right? Yep, Kevin Kline. He's a professional impersonator, and the president needs to go sneak out and, let's just say, really talk to a constituent, one specifically. So Dave, the impersonator, steps in for, it's only supposed to be for like 3 hours, but the president has a heart attack while vigorously talking to this constituent. They were fucking. Let's just go ahead and stop being around that bush. And then he has to continue to be the president. And Sigourney Weaver, the president's wife, like, I knew you weren't him, when she opens the shower door. Which I'm assuming is the entire west wing of the White House. Did you see how big that bathroom was in that movie?
Oh, yeah. It's the White House.
Yeah,
It's built for comfort.
exactly.
Not running of the government.
Yeah, they're hanging out there a lot. Okay, so
No wonder
They didn't
Aaron...
show you the 75 other floors beneath it.
yeah.
Well, that's where Aaron Sorkin was filming The West Wing.
Ah,
So we got Dave. It's really funny, cute. I like the movie. And the other one is Man of the Year, starring Robin Williams.
Okay.
So in this one, Robin Williams plays like a Jon Stewart political commentator. And then on a whim, he announces, like, I'm running for president. He didn't think he'd get a single vote. But on the other end of the story, after he starts, like, getting votes, he wins the primary. And, like, he wins the election. And now he's, like, the incoming president. The other side is a conspiracy theory that the voting machines was rigged. It was supposed to help the guy who came in second place, but because the machine said, all right, Tom Dobbs, his last name starts with D, he is in first constantly. And, the guy in second, his last name starts with H, so not as good as Dobbs, I guess. So,
Makes
and then
sense.
there's a whole thriller part where they're trying to kill the engineer who figured out the glitch, and like the election results don't really matter. We need to redo everything, and the company's like, no, that was a $13 billion contract. We'll end you before we give that money back. So they try to.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
so
would
those are
vote
my
for
two.
Dave.
Dave?
Out of the two of I prefer Dave.
Yeah.
Even though I loved Robin Williams, I think Dave ultimately was overall a better movie.
yeah.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I was on the fence, and I will go with the judgment ruled down by the court.
We vote Dave.
Yes. Because he once caught a fish.
This
big.
with the giant forward arms.
Yeah.
But it's a really good movie.
Yes, it is.
Kevin Kline there's only one other movie that I can remember him being in. He was the mayor of a small town where he had to come out as gay.
You don't remember him being in A Fish Called Wanda or what's it called? What's the one? A Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
You remember him being in Wild Wild West with Will Smith? Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Forgot he was the partner in that one. But A Fish Called Wanda, now that you mention it, I totally remember seeing that movie.
Because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
What?
That's what?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh boy.
Anyways, so back to. So let's talk. We talked about this one offline. Let's just bring it right to the forefront here. The Distinguished Gentleman.
Yes.
Yes.
With Mr.
I
Eddie
can never
Murphy.
remember the name of that movie, but I can remember the entire movie.
Dick is good.
Honey, who is it that we always vote for? Jim Jeffries.
Oh, yeah,
Jeff
that's right.
Johnson.
Jeff Johnson, yeah. The name you know.
Vote Jeff Johnson. So that's for those of you who
That
don't
was
know.
his whole political campaign.
Yeah.
Didn't do one rally.
Nope.
And then everyone was surprised when a black guy got up there that they voted for.
Yeah.
So his name was Thomas Jefferson Johnson Jr. So he took out the Thomas,
Yep.
shortened Jefferson to Jeff, and he got Jeff Johnson. Because
Yep.
the whole movie, for those who have not seen it, Eddie Murphy, really good movie. Basically, he gets, and he's a group of con artists. He's with a group of con artists, so that's all they do. And then they find out the biggest scam. They look into like how much money, like all these, represent congressmen get like from like kickbacks
Well,
and
he's basically they're doing a con at his house at his rally.
Yeah.
And he hears him talking about how he wasn't going to run, but he was going to have it to where he wanted to get reelection,
Yeah.
so he could keep all those campaign donations
Yeah.
without actually pulling out of the race early.
Yep. And so all the money though, that what they figure out is like they're doing all these con jobs and they're making some money, but him and his crew are basically like, have you realized? He looks into it and he's like, they get this much for this. It's all these kickbacks, donations, this and that. Like if you have a dinner thing, you get like $2,000 a plate or something or a head, and people then donate, and so he's like, he figures out he can get in on name recognition because the person who just passed away was Jeff Johnson, who was like a congressman for a long time.
Again,
and,
he died while
having sex.
having
with that,
sex.
Polling a constituent
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
with his poll.
Yes. But so the whole thing is he goes into they all, him and his con group, his heist crew, whatever you want to call them, they get into it just strictly for money. It's all about money at the beginning. But then as the movie goes on, he starts realizing
Classic
how
Japes.
corrupt. Yep.
Yeah, he starts getting a conscience.
Yep. And then the one girl who ends up having the cancer, or boy, I can't remember if it was a girl or boy, but she ended up having cancer from the
Power
power
lines.
lines.
Oh, yeah.
So they start trying to help them, and then that doesn't go through as well. But then he finds out all the other really grimy things that are going
Yeah.
on behind the scenes, and then they're basically now going to almost like basically blow the whistle on him.
Yeah.
So they set up this whole elaborate thing during one of the Congress meetings where it's live on TV and all this stuff, and so yeah, but it is ultimately, there's a lot of funny stuff in it. It is a comedy officially.
Yeah.
Yes.
But watching the
It's-
old lady
it's
with
like
a silver
in
fox
this-
ticket is
Yeah,
probably
the
one of the
silver
best
fo-
spots.
exactly.
That's
That
who helps
that
get
is
him in.
hilarious.
It's a comedy in the same vein that Click is a comedy. It really is until the third act, and then it just
Yeah.
gets
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
emotional.
Yeah, because once the Reverend gets busted or killed or whatever,
Something like
he
that.
gets into a car accident or something, and I think he was like set up and.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a good movie though! But yeah, once you see the silver
A
fox ticket,
silver
people,
fox can make a point. They can't win.
Where did you learn to speak Yiddish?
That was like when they were driving around in like the bus when he's doing
Oh, yeah,
and he's
different
in
voices?
each neighborhood. Yeah, if you're gonna vote the name you vote Jeffrey Johnson.
Hey, you over there eating a sandwich?
Yeah, yeah.
Put that down and go over there and vote for Jeff Johnson.
Yes, highlight of the comedy movie part of the
Yes.
movie.
So that had to be brought to the forefront, and we were just talking about it offline too. So it was fresh
Yes.
in the brain. So
Indeed.
you're welcome, America.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one that's and we may have talked about this before, but The American President with Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good one because he ends up falling for this. She's a lobbyist, actually.
They're always obvious.
I know, right? But he's got a really good exchange with not Emilio Estevez. What's his dad's name?
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Yeah, him and Charlie. They're like playing pool, and he keeps on asking him like questions about her, like trying to find out. He was like, "Do you think I should call her?" He says, "Well, I don't know, but I could maybe slip her a note after gym class if you like." It's just so hilarious, the banter that goes back and forth, and it's a pretty good star-studded cast in there. You got Michael J. Fox, a young Michael J. Fox, who is his. I think he's like one of his political strategists. So
Okay.
he's trying to get him. He's running for re-election, and he's trying to get him re-elected. The guy from the original Jaws, the scientist, he's the guy who's running against him. Let me see if Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
The Drive. Yeah, so he's running against him, and the dating with this lady essentially increases makes it a scandal for him. That he's just having a relationship with somebody. Woohoo! I mean, the reason it doesn't have a wife is his wife passed away during his first campaign.
That's sad.
But that was the other thing that he was talking about, like when they were having their strategy meeting. He was like, we go against the character of a widow, 4 years ago when he was originally running. He's like, we get bathed in a bloodbath because he's got the sympathy vote. He's like, now he's got this you got this woman that he's sneaking into the White House and he's sleeping with, and this is now we can attack his character.
Yep.
It's like, all right, yeah, this is definitely how dirty politics starts.
Yeah, basically.
And it's all in a moving limousine. I'm like, man, limousine talks, jeez. That's what we ought to have. Limousine talks and chill.
Bust out the
We'll be a
AT&T
driving
credit
service.
card.
Yeah, it would be a driving service.
Yeah.
It'd be like the cash
Oh.
cab.
I was hoping it would be the other way around. Pop out the AT&T credit card and let's just drive around in the limo for a couple of days.
Yeah. But when do you get that?
I don't know. You're the finance guy.
It's going to be designed.
You
it's
find us a couple of grand.
A couple of grand.
Le Movies Talks and Chill. So if you want to go out on the town and all you want to do is drive in a limo and talk about movies and chill out, we'll come pick you up and we'll have all the topics ready for you
We'll call it Movie Talks and Chill on the go.
on wheels.
Yeah, right. Movie talks and chill on
Oh,
wheels.
reels on wheels.
Ooh, I like it.
All right, nobody can steal that.
Hashtag
Investors
you
call
saw
us.
it.
We
You saw
are
it here.
brimming with ideas.
Get on LegalZoom and hold that DBA down. Get it down, lock it down.
Reels on wheels.
All right, so now that
Now that we got our side business ready.
we'll have fun games for you, trivia, you
Right,
win
yeah,
prizes.
that's what we'll do. Trivia prizes.
I'm becoming the president of the podcast portion of this company. You guys can do the driving segments.
We'll be making all the money.
Exactly.
Okay.
As he's crying 2 months from now. You
Yeah, right.
guys suck.
I wish I'd have done it.
I hate you guys. As we're driving down a limo,
Bye.
18 women.
What I
in
do is I
bikinis.
start a parent company, sell our shares to that one, so I'm in full control, and then shut down your side business.
You can't do that.
I couldn't try.
We're not public. We're not public. That's you
Yeah.
can only do that with a public company.
I'll just forge your signatures.
You write in perfect braille.
Honestly, I wish I did. It would be more legible than my actual handwriting.
Doctors go to school with Patrick to figure out how to write prescriptions.
So, my grandma was a really good pianist. She would like relax by playing Chopin and Tchaikovsky and all that. And when she saw when I grew up and she saw how long my fingers were, she's like, "Ooh, you have piano fingers." So she tried to teach me how to play piano. After 3 lessons, she's like, "You have doctor's hands. They don't work very well." I was like, "Oh, thanks, Grandma."
Oh my God.
Well, she was an ER nurse for all of her
Oh,
career, so
okay,
she's worked
okay.
with doctors her entire life. And she's
Touche.
like, "Their writing's illegible."
Yeah. Yes.
So now he's a musical doctor.
I failed it. Oh,
You're gonna feel better today. Hey, hey.
I'm like Patch Adams if he failed med school.
It's like the Family Guy episode. You have AIDS, not HIV. Oh no, it's full blown AIDS. I wish it was something less serious.
So now I'm just thinking about Team America World Police.
Anyway,
So back to the government. Well, you got. I'm just gonna name a few off because there's
All
so
right.
many out there. But you
Lightning
got,
round.
You
Let's
got
do this.
Enemy of the State. Enemy of the
With
State.
John Voight and Will Smith.
Yep.
Very
Yes.
good movie.
White House Down or White. Was White House
White House
Down?
White
Yeah,
House Down was the one with
that was Channing
Tatum.
Tatum.
Yep.
So Olympus Has Fallen was the
Olympus
one
Has
with Gerald Butler. That one
right.
got 2 sequels. White House Down did
It was Olympus, Paris, and then
Olympus, London, and
London. What was the third one?
I think it was
Angel.
yeah.
Angel.
Yeah.
Then you got the Pelican Brief. Julia Roberts.
Yep.
Yes.
The Post. If you
I
remember
never
the
saw that
Post, it really wasn't
And
super
that
great.
was Tom Hanks, right?
I believe it was. I know the name. I only saw it one time, and it was back whenever it came out. Oh, but one that a lot of people know because it was based off the true story, Snowden.
Yep.
You
Yep.
remember that one? Another whistleblower type movie. There's a lot of whistleblower movies out there.
JFK.
JFK had the-
where they
yep.
do they walk through the assassination.
Yep. And there was one that we were talking about. I think we did it when we did the interview movie episode, or movies about interviews, and it was Frost versus Nixon,
Yeah.
because that was
Yeah.
all about him trying to get
Exactly.
him to actually admit about like what really happened with Watergate and all that other stuff.
Trying to get him to incriminate
Yeah.
himself.
But no, that Frost versus Nixon is another really great movie. Ron Howard directed that one, so awesome movie. And of course, a not brand new but fairly newer movie. I mean, it's a few years old now. Is Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was gonna say Lincoln, not to be
So
be confused
I'm bringing
with
up. I want to
Abraham.
I want to bring up that movie.
Okay.
Of the
Not to be confused with Abraham
Abraham
Lincoln, the
Lincoln,
vampire
Vampire
slayer hunter.
Which I watched and I was really excited for it, but he only kills like 5 vampires over like 35 years.
The only time that he gets like you see him go really badass is that train scene,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's literally the Underground Railroad.
But yeah, like there are like points like you're halfway through the movie, he's elected president, and he's like, "All right, honey, I gotta go take care of something. What are you gonna do? Chop down some wood," and grabs his like giant axe. It's like, hell yeah, let's do this. And a quick little fight scene, and it's over. And it's like, I'm watching the movie to watch Abraham Lincoln beat the shit out of people with an axe.
Right.
Why are we skipping over this part?
Yeah, that just gets glazed over. the whole time.
It really wasn't that necessary.
I
Here's a government.
didn't want to
movie.
see the vampire hunting section of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, no, this is just for show.
Yeah.
What's the band name? The Shitty Beatles? Oh, must be pretty good. No, it's a clever name.
Yeah. Well, here's one. I really wouldn't classify this, even though it's all about. It has government. It's a comedy. but it's not-
Idiocracy?
no, it's not really about government. It's Mars Attacks.
Oh, yeah. God, I love it.
I just like we come in peace and they release a dove like yeah, and they all just lose their shit.
Yeah.
So it was government.
Yeah.
I mean, as
I mean,
much-
they toppled it almost instantly.
They did, yeah. And it's some some Waylon Jennings oldie music.
Yeah, just makes their
Pops
heads
their
explode.
heads. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a great song, but it wasn't deadly. Like to us,
Yeah, to us.
it's like a cop at like a War of the Worlds, where like the aliens just died because they're not used to Earth's atmosphere. Or
Oh,
something
because
like
of
that.
Yeah.
germs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had germs. Apparently, there's
Yeah,
no
we're
germs
filthy
on
fucking
Mars.
people.
Ew.
There's a great one from the '90s we haven't talked about yet. Air Force One.
Yes.
With Harrison Ford.
Very, very good one.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, Harrison Ford plays the President of the United States on Air Force One with his family traveling home from somewhere. They really don't say
Hailing
where.
from parts unknown.
Well, I know they're coming from Europe because the last few, the last act takes place over the Atlantic Ocean, and they're like, "This is where we gotta get you off, Mr. President," and stuff like that. But
Yeah, they're stealing him and they're trying to take the plane back to Russia.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where there has been they stopped a coup from a general that was trying to take power from the
Government.
Democratic favored
Yeah.
president that was elected. Pre-Putin.
Yeah. Definitely no foreshadowing in that movie.
Yeah,
No.
But terrorists take over the plane.
Led by Gary Oldman.
Yep. And so they get all the guns that are on Air Force One. It wasn't, which I really appreciated. Like they didn't try and sneak weapons onto Air Force One and somehow magically get through every screener that the president's plane has.
That they had a spy.
Yeah, they had an inside man who just unlocked the gun cabinet. I was like, okay, yes, this works a lot better than putting like a barrel inside of like a film camera and then they had to disassemble it all.
Yeah. No one's getting an entire cart of a cleaning
No.
cart on Air Force One. It's already on there.
Yeah.
It's been checked 17,000 times.
Yeah. But if you haven't seen it, terrorists take over Air Force One. Secret Service do their job and they get the president into the escape pod, they think, and then they launch it so that they can go be rescued. But Harrison Ford wasn't about to leave his wife and daughter, so he sneaks out of this airtight presidential escape pod and he stays on the plane. So then he finds a gun, he finds a radio, and then he finds a way to communicate with Morgan Freeman, his VP.
No, that's Glenn Close.
Glenn Close.
Wow. How did you? Wow.
Morgan Freeman was the VP in Olympus Has Fallen.
I now remember that.
But yeah, Glenn Close. It was Morgan Freeman, right? Nope, Glenn Close. Oh yeah, they look exactly the same.
Kevin Hart would have been a better guest. Morgan Freeman and Glenn Close.
I was thinking about Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh my god,
Shut up.
Close.
Wow.
But
Wow.
the end of the movie is, a scene.
Samsonite. I was way off.
I'll let these guys finish before I continue.
Sorry.
We done?
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Who was in that movie, Lift, by the way?
What a callback.
Yeah, to a conversation we had 20 minutes ago.
All right, I'm done. Go ahead.
Basically, the end of the movie is they get the president off with the C-130 firing tethers to one of the open doors, and they have to zip line across to the new plane.
I think they would call like skyjackers or something.
Something like that. But, he sends his family, and then he has a fist fight with the bad guy, and then he kicks him out without a parachute, so he dies. And then he just zip lines across, and everyone's like, air traffic control, we are now changing our designation to Air Force One. And everyone's like, yeah!
Yeah,
And that's
any airplane that the president occupies becomes Air Force One.
Yeah. And it's the same with any helicopter. That becomes
Yeah.
Marine One.
I want mine to be a stealth bomber.
Become elected president and take a ride in
will.
one.
Yeah.
It becomes Air Force One. To be fair, Air Force One has the same cloaking technology that the stealth bombers have.
All right, but I want mine to be a stealth bomber.
Yes, but I want mine to be super fast.
Yeah.
I don't want to have meetings. I just want to get from A to B.
Just for nostalgic purposes.
Yeah, right.
I want it to be an F-14 Tomcat from Top
Now, you
Gun.
want that Concorde from the late 90s that did London to New York in 3 hours.
Oh, that thing. Yes.
Yes.
Supersonics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those things were going like Mach 1, I think. Problem is, they were so expensive, no one was buying tickets.
Well, yeah.
But then I heard they're coming back out with another one.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was the same guys that work at Disney when they built the Star Wars
Yeah.
hotel.
You guys take Groupon?
Yeah, they had that lawyer from Jurassic Park. We can charge $10,000, $12,000, and people will pay it.
Clearly, we won't.
Yeah, yeah. No, they won't.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go
It's
to
like,
that.
no, don't worry, we'll have a coupon day.
Yeah, it's not that I won't pay it; it's I can't pay it.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. That's like a trip to another country.
Yeah.
And I'm staying here.
I
I
mean-
get that it's an immersive experience,
Yeah,
but damn.
I'm still in Florida.
yes, in July.
Yeah. I was
in
like
Delaware.
I was, yeah.
I'm in Delaware.
Welcome to Delaware.
Trying to like a 2-room suite for that weekend was like $7,000. I can only imagine me rocking up with 10 friends. Like, do you all need separate rooms? Like, no, we booked one because we want to afford this.
Do you have any cots?
And air fresheners.
Can I sleep in the janitor's closet?
If you find me sleeping in the hall, I'm not drunk. I'm just getting away from everyone.
I really don't have a room.
I had 3 people sleeping on top of me. We were stacked like pancakes. It was a horror show.
Yeah. I'd much rather just be in a turned-on dryer than in that room.
God forbid any of them has the bubble guts. We're all in some trouble.
We all ate the greasiest steaks at dinner last night.
Now, not connecting that last statement to what I'm about to bring up by any means,
Oh,
but
Christ.
great political movie was Milk. And I'm not connecting the two things, but I had it up and we need to talk about Milk.
Let's talk about Milk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, the only Milk movie I know of is Louder Milk with not Jason Bateman, Ron Livingston. on
No, this
Netflix.
was...
I don't think I saw that. I saw Milk Money.
Okay, so Milk was the one about the story about the guy Harvey Milk. He was a gay rights activist, and he was one of the first gay men to be elected in California.
Oh.
So his name was Harvey Milk. That's what. But Sean Penn plays it.
Yeah.
Plays a role.
I remember the movie. I remember seeing the trailer. I
Yeah.
didn't
So the
see
whole movie is about his struggle to get to that point, and all the things he goes through, and then also because this is back in. I think it was back in the 80s. It was supposed to be based in the 80s, if I remember, 70s or 80s. But back then, when they, gay was not too super popular.
Yeah.
And, they had those bathhouses and stuff.
it wasn't cool.
Well, it was a very secretive thing, and you have obviously the height of the AIDS
Right.
epidemic and stuff. But that's when they had those things like they had in New York, those bathhouses type things where that's where the guys would go, and basically you go there almost like a sauna or a bathhouse, and you're basically just going there for sex to meet some random people.
Yeah.
And do your thing, because it was one of the few places they could kind of openly do that
Right.
there. So, but that all aside, that's not really the main focus of the movie. The main focus of the movie is about him becoming, that activist, and then becoming the first person elected in California under that. So, if you haven't seen it, it's actually a very good movie, and you got Sean Penn as the lead character.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you can't go wrong with Sean Penn.
no, even if you're Spicoli,
Yeah.
it's still solid.
Tubular, bro.
Thought this was our time.
Yeah, this is our time, Mr. Han.
So, 2 quick movies.
Sure.
One, Idiocracy.
Yes, the funny film that has since turned into a documentary.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they had it under documentaries on one thing too,
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, they have it. Some sites have it filed under documentary.
Christ, that's upsetting. But it's we've talked about this movie many times
Yeah.
before. Quick recap: Luke Wilson gets sent to the future where everyone has 3 brain cells, and 2 of them are fighting to eat the 3rd one.
Guys, this is. There's no way I can be the smartest person. That test was like really easy. I made that test, bro.
Yeah, and then he winds up going to Terry Crews, who's the president. And they're like, we need to
President Camacho.
Yeah, He's like, you're the smartest man. Make food grow. Like, we keep spraying.
He's
Gatorade
gonna
up.
fix the economies.
They keep saying like spraying Gatorade onto the flowers. And you're like, it's got electrolytes.
But Brondo has what plants
That was
want.
Brondo.
Yeah, it's Brondo.
Yeah.
Brondo
Legally
was the
distinct.
only drink
Yeah.
in America. It's like if Coke took over every drink.
Yeah.
Legally distinct Gatorade. That's what Brondo is.
Yeah, he went to the fountain, like the water
Yeah.
fountain. He was like, and it was Brondo. He's like, but plants need water. You mean like from the toilet? That's what everybody went back to.
And then he has to go to like a deathmatch car race. And he's got this like the 81 Honda from Employee of the Month that Dax Shepard
Yeah.
drives.
With a giant dildo on it.
Yeah. And then Terry Crews shows up in a 35-foot tall monster
No,
truck.
it wasn't him. It was some other guy. It's like their death, like he was like their American Gladiator thing. And yeah, it wasn't Terry Crews. He was still in the audience.
Okay. I thought he came down.
No, it was some other guy because that's when he was down there with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Well, they come out with that giant truck. It's like, dude, this is like the biggest truck it's ever seen. It may not even make it into the building. And you just see it crash against the wall. It's like, oh, maybe it was too big.
It gets 10 feet to the tank of gas.
Yeah,
And the other quick shout out is Doctor Strangelove.
Yes.
It's from 1964.
Doctor Strange.
I haven't seen the movie in years, so the only part I can genuinely fully picture in my head is the one scene that everybody and their mother can remember is him sitting on the A-bomb as it drops, and he's like cowboying all the way down. But I do the
Yeah, they
movie was
recreated that in Armageddon.
Yes,
Basically.
Just wanted to feel the power between my legs, man.
he's got space madness.
Yeah.
Get off the thermonuclear device. Then they like strap him down for like the next few scenes.
Well, that's because he gets on like he puts the headset on that operates the minigun.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just starting to fire off into space. And he's like, woo! Idiot.
But-
Damn it, Steve Buscemi.
Right? Being such a damn good actor. But in Doctor Strangelove, I can't remember, was it like a general or the president who just loses his absolute mind and says, let's
You
bomb.
tell us. It's your movie.
Pulling it up. U.S. Air Force general
There you go.
loses his shit. So, and he just goes crazier and crazier, and he just sends a bombing wing to Soviet Russia. One of them has an A-bomb on it, and he's like, no, we're doing this. And then he went and did it. Because the last shot is him falling out of the airplane riding the A-bomb as it crash lands, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Doctor Strangelove, 1964, classic movie if you haven't seen it. I need to go rewatch it.
Speaking of oldies but goodies, we mentioned this one offline earlier. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yes.
With Jimmy Stewart.
Never seen it, but it
Never
is a
seen it?
movie.
He takes over.
What's like
Quit stealing my
1930s?
line.
Yeah, I know.
So he's basically, there's a real corrupt, government official that dies, and then Mr. Smith is like this complete polar opposite. Like he is like a do-gooder,
straight
Boy Scout,
down.
honest, and he basically comes in and takes over in that place. However, you got to see the movie, and I haven't seen it in forever, so I couldn't tell you every single thing about it. But you got Jimmy Stewart. That's all. That's all I need.
Well, it's, been around for almost 100 years. So.
Yep. I mean, he even does this like speech in there at one point where he's basically, in the middle of this, Senate or whatever or Congress meeting, and he basically says, "Now, if you decide to, that you need me to step down, I will." But he basically does this big speech, and it's like the big mantra of like do-gooders type stuff like this. So it is a good movie. I have not seen it in a long time, so I'm not going to pretend to delve too deep into it, but I wanted to give it a shout out. Another shout out from the 80s is The Manchurian Candidate. If you guys ever seen that one.
I've seen it, but I don't like it. Long time ago.
Yeah, if you remember, I mean, the basic premise is.
I think
you
they
know,
remade it with. I can't remember who, but I watched it.
Yeah,
it was
but-
in
yeah.
like the early 2000s.
Yeah, and the original one was made in the 80s, I believe.
Like
and it's
82, 83?
something like that. And it came out, and it's basically like people brainwashing them and utilizing them as pawns to thwart other, other political
They're like
groups'
unknown
plans.
sleeper cells or something. Like
Kind of
that.
something like that, yeah. And
Like
everything-
like what everyone thought the communist invasion from Russia was. They were all like, you heard one Russian phrase and then you went to go assassinate a senator or something like
Right?
that.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I forgot about this one.
It was Boxcar.
Do you guys remember All the President's Men?
No.
I do.
I actually forgot about that until I went by it. That's actually so. That was
Robert-
Robert Redford,
Yeah, Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman.
Yep. And they're basically, it involves with FBI, and it's basically another investigation type movie, almost like another whistleblower
Yeah.
type film. I think they might have been with Watergate, if I remember correctly. I think
Okay.
it was about. So let me read this. There's a classic movie about how reporters at the Washington Post broke the story about Watergate. Yep, and eventually brought down Richard Nixon. Like they say, yes, it is a little slow. It can be a little slow, but it's supposed to be. I mean, movies like that aren't supposed to move that quickly.
Yeah,
You're supposed to
no.
get the whole thing. I mean,
It's
when you're doing
gotta-
an investigation about something like that, you got to wait a little bit.
You got to give it some time, man.
Now, one thing, speaking, it's about government, obviously, but more about activism is, you have movies also like Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
That's another solid
Yep.
movie. Again, it's more into the depth of the activist
Yeah.
portion
Yeah.
of it, but they did make a big change in government.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, just any
One of the
those
greatest
guys.
civil rights leaders ever.
Yep.
Also, Gotti
Gotti, yep.
Yep.
with
I got Gotti.
with the that was the unions, right? The Teamsters unions.
Yes, yep.
The reason why Jimmy Hoffa is still missing.
Yeah, exactly. He's in. The
Well, they
old-
found him in Bruce Almighty.
He's in the old Yankee Stadium. Anyway,
Before you go, I just have to say this real quick. So, in this list of political
Yeah, I'm
movies,
looking that-
12 Angry Men popped up. Now, although it was a wonderful movie, I
And
don't
it was
see
great
it-
in our courtroom episode.
I don't see it being a political movie.
No.
But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna go switch gears, to a little bit more of a funny, lighthearted one. But Welcome to Mooseport with
Oh, yeah, the mayor.
Gene Hackman and Ray Romano. So Gene Hackman is a former president who's moving to Mooseport, and he gets into a tiff with Ray Romano over this girl that he's been dating for like 10 years or something in there. And so he, in order for they're trying to give Gene Hackman the honor of being mayor of Mooseport. Because no one, like their former mayor ended up passing away, and that nobody else wanted to be mayor of the town. He just wanted to come there to retire, but he thought it would impress this girl, and so since he ran, so Ray finally said he wanted to run. And their debates are hilarious. There's like this one lady's like, I can't stop having what is it, like car lights are shining into my bedroom door every night off of whatever road she was on. And it's like a major turning road, but the direction of it shine right into her bedroom. And Gene Hackman is like, well, I would appoint a commission, and we would analyze the traffic pattern, and if necessary, put up stop sign or reroute and all this other stuff. And Ray was like, have you ever just tried blackout curtains? It's like, just come on by the shop. I'll give them to you at a discount. It's so funny because Gene Hackman, he's got his he's been in politics forever, and he's getting showed up by a dude that runs a hardware store.
I have a movie I want to talk about, but
Sure.
real quick on a follow up to that, I don't know why, Ray Romano and Kevin James were at a golf tournament, and they had a film crew and just watching him play this charity golf event over the weekend. It was the same weekend that Hitch came out that Kevin was in, and there's at one point halfway through this documentary, I don't know, golf documentary, Kevin James gets on his phone and just walks into the woods a little bit, and Ray Romano's like, I know what he's doing. It's like, Mooseport opened with $7 million its opening weekend. I hope you could suck an egg. He comes back saying like $15 million or something like that, and he's like, whatever.
Whatever, man.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
in Mooseport with Gene Hackman in a small little rinky-dink town.
Yeah.
He was with Will Smith in New York City.
Yeah. Yeah, this was
And Eva Mendes,
but
right?
there was like
Yeah.
Eva Mendes was Will Smith's
Love interest.
love interest.
Now, also, you can't, we kind of spoke this offline as well, but you can't bring up government without talking about kind of offset government, like not as our political system, but there is student government, and that comes election.
Yeah.
Yep,
And-
that was on my list to bring up.
Mr. McAllister! Tracy Flick.
Oh, God.
So, movie about a girl named, well, it's more about Matthew Broderick's character, but it's Matthew
Yeah.
Broderick.
About how his life just goes to absolute garbage.
Yeah, he's a teacher, but he's in charge of the campaigning for the student
body government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tracy Flick is this overzealous girl who wants to succeed in everything, and will stop at nothing.
Yeah,
to
you
do
ever
so.
been in high school and that girl who was running for student body president was in line to be valedictorian, had, offers to go to every Ivy League and some of the, non-Ivy League schools like Duke's and California school, UCLA, all
And
that.
Brown and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
But also Brown, Yale, Harvard.
Yeah.
And she's running for student body president, and either Matthew Broderick sleeps with her or no.
No, it was the other teacher that was a friend of his. So
Oh,
the
yeah,
other
that's
teacher in
right.
school was having an affair with her, and then they get busted, so he basically gets fired, and he's a married man with a wife and a kid. So basically, she has him leave, get out, so she divorces him. So the whole point of the movie then is Matthew Broderick sees her as like such a goody-goody, and he just sees her like he knows that there's deep down conniving and deceit in her. So he does everything he can to try to not ensure that she doesn't get elected. So he has the football player kid who was the Chris Klein.
Yeah.
He was the one from American Pie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So
The
he's
sensitive
like
one.
the jock, but really nice in this movie. He's really sensitive in
really
this
popular,
movie too.
yeah.
And so he's like, you should do this. So he has him run against her, and then his sister is also running. Chris Klein's sister, who's like this, almost like this activist type girl,
Yeah.
but like just almost like anarchy type stuff. Like
Yeah.
this
She
means
was she was running in protest.
yes, yeah, basically, because she says.
Yeah.
Vote for me, and I'll make sure we never do anything like this
Right.
ever again.
Think Bridget from Community.
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, Britta.
Britta from
Britta.
Community.
And
I gotta do a
it's
rewatch
closer
of that
this
show.
time. Closer.
Yeah.
You got it closer. It's not Glenn Close.
Think Morgan Freeman from Community.
Glenn Close.
Jack
And
Black was in an episode. Think Jack Black.
a couple
from Community.
episodes. So anyway, he's like, he's trying. So he's backing this kid up, but as things happen, his life just slowly goes in a downward spiral. This is Matthew Broderick, and then he basically ends up rigging the election so that she wins, or he ends up getting rid of a couple of
Yeah.
votes because she ends up winning, and it pissed him off. So he does it, and Chris Klein wins, but then it's all found out because then there's another student there that was like, no, I counted that like 3 times. I know how many it was. So he's questioning him. They find that the ones that he threw away, because he just puts them in the trash can
Yeah,
right next to
yeah.
him. So it doesn't even
in
get
his
creative.
office.
Yeah.
Put him in your pocket, go home and burn the suit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, it's basically about how he goes
Amateurs.
all the way down, like just hits rock bottom. He gets fired, and throughout
Well,
the movie too, at one point
he also
cheats,
is- yeah.
he cheats on his wife with his friend's wife that just got divorced. They have like a
Who she sets up.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she sets up the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
like, I want you so bad. I want you to come over. I'm so lonely. Does it and then tells his wife.
Yeah, he
That's
comes-
called entrapment. I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
exactly.
Well, he still does it though. I mean, it's not full on
Yeah.
entrapment. But
Yeah, but she's mad at him.
I know.
Not at her.
well, because she's the one who told her.
Right.
But because she was the one that was in distress.
Exactly.
She had just had a broken marriage, so she
There was no
understood
intent
it was-
until she called, so this is entrapment.
All right, we're gonna go back to trial movies later on.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
for now.
Exactly.
But regardless,
We're not on trial this
Yeah.
time.
We're gonna get Catherine Zeta-Jones on the line.
He hits total rock bottom, gets booted out, loses his job. He finds another job way later. He's alone, living on his own.
I
in,
do
like, a
remember
little
the end where
apartment.
he sees her get into like a limo
Yeah.
with like a senator, and he throws a snowball and it like screeches. Oh shit!
Yeah, he
And
runs
starts
off.
running
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, he's working at like a museum or something
Yeah.
now, and he's got like this little 1-bedroom apartment. So
Think the apartment from Joe's apartment
basically,
without all the cool, funny roaches.
Yeah, what's funny is his rent in there was the same amount as my rent now.
yeah, right.
But at least he had comedic cockroaches.
Well, yeah, he also was in New York City.
Yeah.
This stuff was made in New York City.
New York City.
So we just had to give a shout out as a
Yeah,
quick little.
that is a fantastic movie. I've seen it a few
And it
times.
is about government,
Yeah,
in a way,
just student government.
loosely based on government.
So, speaking of loosely based on government, I'd like to bring up a movie from 1995. Wow, I didn't know it was that old. Crimson Tide.
Okay.
So, if you haven't seen this movie, this is an amazing movie. It stars Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is the captain of a nuclear submarine. It's nuclear powered and has the ability to launch nuclear missiles. Denzel Washington is brought on, first scene or two of the movie to be his executive officer or XO. So when you're on a submarine, you're out for 3 or 4 months at a time. So, it sets up like Denzel Washington getting settled into, life on the submarine. Like you see him running 5 miles just back and forth across the submarine. You see him getting along with his commander by watching like the sunrise and smoking a cigar. And Gene Hackman's like, most people want to talk. You know when to shut up. I like that about you. I was like, good and bad at the same time, Gene Hackman. All right, but what happens?
It's like the prostitute. You're not paying her to have sex. You're paying her to leave with no questions.
Said Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, right.
But so during the course of the movie, they get an encrypted communication from the government. They only get half of it, and it says launch the nuclear missile, but it doesn't give the second half of they can't verify it, and like they're missing some vital information. And Gene Hackman says, "We got the order. It came through the correct channels. We verified it came from the correct person. We're launching." Denzel Washington says, "No, there's clearly more to this message. We can't launch yet. We don't want to like accidentally nuke, Uzbekistan for no apparent reason or something like that." So then it turns into a cat and mouse game where some people are on Denzel Washington's side, like, we can't fire this nuclear missile. And then there are other people, like the sergeant at arms and the master chief, like they're on Gene Hackman's side, like, we fire now. We are trained to do this. So they start stealing the arming keys and all that fun stuff, and blah 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 blah. At the end of the movie, they finally get the rest of the message decoded. It either says "never mind, stand down," or "only fire if this happens," and that never happened. So it winds up that Denzel was right, in terms of they shouldn't fire the nuclear missile, but it's also like a commentary on what happens when your superior officer gives you a bad command. I thought it was a really well done movie. I really like it. Yeah, that's my thought. It's a very good movie.
You make them stand down. That's what you do, and it's called mutiny.
That's what they effectively did for half the
Here's
movie.
mutiny. Well, we have some. There's also some movies about protecting the president that we went over with White House Down, Olympus Has Fallen. But there's a funny one that talks about protecting the president's son.
The first kid.
First kid.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
With Sinbad.
Yep.
That is hilarious.
So
Well, the beginning of the scene, he goes to the mall and he
and he
walks
starts
over.
convincing the Dunkin' guy that there's a bomb in one of the donuts.
Yeah, he's like, all right, give me one of bear claws over there.
And his partner's like, "Can you get one of those?" He's like, "I don't think so, Agent Dash."
Yeah.
So there's another podcast that I listen to called Mom Can't Cook that reviews DComs, and this one wound up on their list because it was made and produced by Disney, and I think it was slated to be on the Disney Channel, but I think they just threw a few more million at it and gave it a theatrical release. So they covered this movie relatively, like, I've listened to it, like, it's a great podcast. You can look them up, and give us
After
money.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, after.
Yeah, don't stop now. Wait until we're done.
Like all of a sudden, click, click, click. click.
Wait a minute.
We lost
Andy and Luke, if
everybody.
you get more subscribers because of this, you owe us some of your subscribers. But it's genuinely a funny movie. I remember seeing this movie in the theaters, and I can't, like, it was really funny. I loved it as a kid. I'm sure if I watched it now with my 30-year-old mind, I'd be like, the fuck am I watching?
I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here. This is going to stretch things a little bit. Probably stretch it quite a bit. But technically, the first three, meaning the first three, number 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars, the prequels, were all government movies.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. There
More
was,
government than the other one.
Then,
any other
yeah.
ones.
Well, yeah. The
There
other
was
government was just the emperor.
Yeah.
that was
yeah,
it.
the first one had way more trade law and congressional scenes that I
Yeah.
wanted to, hear about in my...
There's a senatorial debate about a blockade of a planet.
Yeah. Like, I want to see the space wizards fight with space swords. Like, why am I listening to a congressional hearing?
Where's the laser swords at?
So this is deep looking into the film, but so like in E.T. in the 80s, there was a kid in there, and Steven Spielberg put him in there dressed as Yoda for Halloween scene when they're walking down the street. So to get him to pay him back,
Isn't there an ET in one of the
there
Star
are
Wars?
ET. There is a
yeah.
One of
Senate
the alien
pod
species,
Yeah, I
of
remember
ET
that.
aliens in the Senate area, and I'm like, I was like, it was like that. Oh shit, Leo DiCaprio scene was like, hey, pointing out.
Oh yeah, from Once Upon in Hollywood.
Yeah, hey.
But yeah, I know it was a little bit of a stretch there, but I was like, well,
No,
technically
you are
there
you
is
are
government
1,000
in there.
Yeah, yeah, you're 1,000% right. They
had-
overthrow the chancellor.
Yeah,
They
had
appoint-
government corruption.
Yes.
Trade law. Once again, I'm stuck on the fact that the whole premise was about a military blockade because they violated trade routes. Like, this is some nitty gritty political bullshit.
Where's
then
the
they
laser
said the-
swords at?
Yeah, I
Well,
want
first they talk about midichlorians and everyone in the theater shoots themselves, and then they get to the laser sword fight, where Darth Maul just activates a second weapon. Like,
Wait a minute.
All the Chancellor's Jedis. That's going to be the new movie.
Oh, the
Oh man, so we do have a little bit of time left, but if there's any other rapid fire ones you want to throw out there,
not that I can think of the state of my coming to mind at the moment.
so let's do this. And if we do have about 7 minutes left, go ahead.
Some of Our Fears,
Some of All Fears,
which is
sure.
a really great.
Oh, that's the one with Ben Affleck
And-
trying to
and
find Morgan Freeman, trying to find the nuclear weapon, right?
Well, no, one actually goes off. They're trying, and it's an interesting way of they show you what's called the step count, which is how like the government gets so secured and increases its military standing and readiness through.
Isn't it called DEF CON?
Well, they're called the DEFCONs, but the step count is how they basically the levels that they have to go through to increase that without going anywhere to Congress or getting approval from any other military institution. It essentially just goes through. All right, this right here is how we get the act of war. This is how we turn all of our nukes online and get ready to go. Like there's no approval, there's no hearing that you go to Congress for. Because technically the president can't go to war without congressional approval, but he
That's
can
not true.
initiate.
He can send in the Marines without congressional.
Exactly, but that's not a declaration of war.
No.
He can take military action, but he can't initiate war on a country without congressional approval.
It's like the Spartans in ancient Greece. the king had his own separate detachment. He didn't need the Roman Senate or anything to approve him marching. He could just take his 300 guys and go fuck off and do whatever the hell he wants.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what 300 is based off of. The actual Battle of Thermopylae.
The Spartans had two kings just for that. They had one king that went to war, and then one that governed back home because they were constantly at war. They just want to go out there. I'm gonna open up some war bags.
Yeah, we're here to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
I'm all out of
bubblegum. Can we classify They Live as a government?
Yeah,
movie?
actually,
I mean,
it's technically a
conspiracy-wise,
cover up. Yeah, that would be more conspiracy though.
Yeah, but it's still one of John Carpenter's best movies.
Yeah, I would agree.
Rowdy Roddy Piper. And what was the other guy's name?
Close.
Are you sure it wasn't
Close.
Pauly Shore?
Yeah, in the army now.
Buddy.
Sup, buddy?
But if you haven't seen They Live, like we don't have that much time left, and I could talk about a full episode on this movie. But it's Roddy Piper was a famous wrestler back in the day. He finds a pair of sunglasses that reveals all the aliens who have been invading Earth since decades and decades. And then he decides to take them down by destroying a newsroom. I don't remember it too well. It was a cheaply made movie. That really could have been the plot.
Well, yeah, when you could see the aliens, it's all in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
an X-ray
also
look.
Yeah.
there's also subliminal text over
Everywhere.
like
Obey.
yeah, like obey, eat food or something like that. It's on billboards and magazines. There's no real
But you
articles.
take it down and it's like, yeah.
And then it's like the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he
But
puts it on. It's obey, protect, and serve, whatever.
Well, real quick too, another one. Since the last one was Ben Affleck, another Ben Affleck one, Argo.
Yes.
That
I haven't
came
seen
out.
that, but that was the one where the CIA had to sneak out hostages out of Syria or something like that. Nice. Well, in remembrance of the 80 something, what was how many years? 43rd anniversary of Escape from New York. So Escape from New York
Which
in
is
LA.
kind of political.
Yeah.
Well, in the first one,
Dystopian.
yeah, in the first one they had to find the black box. Because
Yeah.
the second one, the Escape from LA, is about the president's daughter that he has to go, quote unquote, rescue.
That's the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one, I think his helicopter just goes down and he has to go get like the football or something like that.
Well, he has to get the president.
Oh, that's
He
right.
has to get him out of there because the president's plane crash landed in New York.
Yeah.
In that, and it was all separated, so now he's stuck in there with all these people that they basically decided to put in there.
Yeah. And in the second one, like 20 years before the events of this movie, like the San Andreas fault finally happened. So LA is just 30 miles off the shore of California. So he's sent in there to find he's sent in there to get the president's daughter and the black box.
Well, the black
president-
box is like a tactical nuke.
Yeah, but for satellites.
Exactly, yeah. Turns everything into the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, which he does.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's why I really like the ending of this movie. He swaps the mini disc that they thought would be the wave of the future back in the 80s. And the
to
president's
Steve Buscemi's Hollywood tours.
Yeah. But so like Brazil is marching on North America, and the president, who was a radical televangelist, who's like, this country is going to hell, I can fix it, and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the movie, they list off all the things you can't do in the U.S. anymore, and he's like, no smoking,
No drinking, no red meat, no sex, unless of course you're married. Like, wait a minute, what?
It's like, that's the most dystopian thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. So Kurt Russell, being Snake Plissken, one of the greatest characters in cinema history, and he says, fine, fuck it. So he puts in the code for... So the president was going to zap EMP on Brazil to put them in the dark ages so America can, not have to fire a single bullet. But now that Kurt Russell or Snake Plissken has this, he turns the world off. He has 666, ultimate giant satellite grid, just turns off all the power in the entire
Everywhere.
world.
Yep.
Yeah. And like the president's about to execute his daughter because
On live TV.
yeah. And like the last thing before it fades to black was he did it. He actually did it. And then fade to black.
And scene.
Yeah.
See?
John Carpenter's a goddamn genius, and those movies are something like all of his movies are really good. I can only say for the first Scream is really good. I haven't seen anything after that one.
The first what?
Scream. Didn't he do Scream?
That's Wes Craven.
Okay.
And on that note, we have to be wrapping it up. So
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. All right, guys. But thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week doing our Tavern Talk. Right?
Yes. So second annual Tavern Talks episode is coming back. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get a little boozy at let's just say earlier than you would prefer.
Drink my beer. It'll get you drunk.
Fucking shark ate me.
But that is all the time we have. Until next time for Movie Talks and Show, we are your hosts. I am Glenn Close.
I am Morgan Freeman.
I am Sally Fields.
Jesse Raphael. All right, guys.
Vincent
Take care.
D'Onofrio.
Vincent
Vincent D'Onofrio. Dolly Parton. All right, guys. Take care.